welcome back. So it says create post works, but what we'd like for it to do is we'd like for it to be a card. We'd like for that card to have an image on it, and then we'd like to have an input. And that input, I chose to make it use the worn color, so it'd be kind of like a red input. I don't know why I chose to use the red color, but I did. So we want to make this card, and then after we make this card, we want to start making all the individual post cards. So we're going to write some HTML to start things off this time. So we're going to start in the create post area. Inside of its HTML, we're going to take create post works and get rid of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a card, as we've done so many times, and then inside this card, we're just going to start putting stuff. So we're not going to say content or title. We're just going to start putting stuff in here. The first thing that we want to put in here is an image. So we'll just say image, and it has a source. To start things off, we're just going to hard code the missing photo image. So if you look in here, you can see there's one called missing photo. It just kind of looks like this. And so we'll just say assets / images / missing photo .png. And then with images, it's wise to always put on an alt. So this would be like missing photo, right? Cool. Other things that we want to do in here. Also, this card I meant to have it be an FX layout. What that does is it makes it into a flex box, and things just kind of behave differently when they're in flex boxes. And in general, I just like to do that. It defaults to row, but if you wanted to say equals row, you could, right? So we're going to have the image and then the input next to it. If you don't want to put the equals row on it, you can just take it off. It really doesn't matter whether you say it or not. It's just both make it a flex box. Next thing we want to do is we want to use an MD input, sort of an Angular material input. We could go get this from their documentation, but we could also just type it. We've done this before, so I'll just let you type it. And the important thing is that you have an input container. And then inside this input container, you have an input with the attribute MD input, which is in camel case, which is crazy, right? What we're going to do is this input container is going to have some flex rules on it. So I want it to stretch to take up the whole space. And then you can also put on another rule that sets what color the underline is. So I want my color to be worn. To be honest, you can look to see what it looks like with or without it, and you can make that however the heck you want. My input, I want to say that it's text. That has an impact on a lot of different browsers, especially for mobile browsers, and like what type of keyboard it gives you. And then I want to say in the placeholder, I'll just say make a post. And then I'll also say that this is a required field in case it ever affects anyone, right? So let's go see what those things do. And whoa, it has a humongous image. Did not work very well. Let's go fix the humongous image problem to start with. So we're going to need some CSS, and we're just going to say image. We'll just limit its height to 60 pixels. That will be a good start. And so now we've got a reasonable image. So we've got this image here that's 60 pixels tall. You'll notice that its aspect ratio took care of setting its width, which was nice. And the card, I think, looks pretty good. If you wanted to get a little gap around the card, you could just give it a little margin on it. So you wanted to say MD card, margin. You can give it a margin on the top and bottom just like this. So if you just wanted like 10 pixels, just to kind of get a little space there to leave a little gap for you. So I think that looks pretty good. We might also want to not smoosh the text right up next to him, so we can just say margin right 10 pixels, I think would kind of get him off a little bit. So there you go, we got a little gap there. So there's our create post. Obviously we're going to have to do something more with this image first, but let's kind of do some more placeholder things for the post works down here. So go to the post HTML. And so over in here, let's just kind of do some typing over on this side. We're going to make a div, and then like this is going to be our post. So if you wanted to, you could put a class on here of post. I'm not sure if I ever actually use that or not, but this is going to be like the div, which like is our post. Our post, if you want to go look at it, it's kind of it's split up into a couple areas. So there's things that are arranged in a row, right? So there's the picture, there's some text things, and then there's some buttons. So at the highest level, it's a row, but the second thing in it is a column, right? So our post here is going to have a layout of row. We're going to also add an FX layout align rule in this guy of none stretch. To be honest, my align rules like that, whenever I develop an app, I put nothing on it and I decide after I look at it what I want to add. But just because we've done things like that, I'm just kind of telling you what I have in my notes, right? Just to save you a little bit of time. The image, you know what, I'm feeling lazy. I'm just going to copy my image from here. For now, we'll just always show the missing photo, which will be fine. The next field is kind of like the text stuff. And the text stuff is going to be oriented as a column. So I'm going to say, take up all of the remaining space, which is what FX Flex does, and arrange your stuff inside of you as a column. And there's going to be two things inside of him. There's going to be, I'm going to put a class on here of author name, which is going to flex. I'm just going to hard code it for right now. So I've got an author name of Dave Fisher. And then I'm also going to have a post body, right? So I'll just call it post body. And my post body, I'll just type lorem ipsum for now, which is the classic placeholder text. So if I save that up, it's going to look horrible, but I'll go take a look at it. And it's also got giant images. You can probably see this coming. So it's got giant images. So we actually need a lot of the same rules that this one had for its images. And you can probably guess what we're going to do here. We're not going to type it in two places. I'm going to move it out of here and put it into a new file, right? So let's go make a new file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new folder called shared. And inside shared, I'm going to make a new file called common sassy CSS. And I'm going to put it into this area. So now they currently both look terrible. Which is fine, but I'm going to go into the create and I'm going to say that he's got another CSS file for him, and it is, I think, shared common.sassy CSS. I'm going to go see if that the dot going backwards always confuses me, but I think that that one looks like it's smaller now, so I'm going to copy it from here. And I'm also going to put that over on the post, right? So the post is TS file. And that's just so that we only have that identical CSS in one spot. So now you can see images everywhere are this size. It's kind of funny, our app here only has images for pictures. So all images are 60 tall, which is just fine. The next thing I want to do is just a little bit more CS in this. I'd like for the author name to be bolded, right? So just little details like that. So currently I've got a class on here called author name. And what I want to do is in the CSS, author name is just going to have a font weight of bold. So they're just kind of look bold there. So they're just kind of stand off. And then notice that right now they're kind of smashing together. I'm going to fix that, but I'm going to fix it later. So just kind of bear with me for that. Let's go ahead and do one more thing. Let's go ahead and make the picture up here show your profile picture, right? So showing your profile picture, that's probably something the auth service should be able to do. And we'll do it. I'll tell you what. We'll do the same game. We'll do it as a variable together. Then you make it a stream, right? And so this will just be your photo URL, which is just going to be a string, and the photo URL is equal to user.photo URL. By the way, I hate how they do URLs in all caps. That's not how I feel like you should do variables different. So you can see mine is RL with lowercase. And so if they're signed in, then they'll have a photo URL. If you sign in with Google, you'll always have a photo URL, assuming that they've set one. Some people don't. But there we've got the photo URL as a variable. And then what we want to do over in create post is we want to see if they've actually got a photo URL. So what we want to do is we want to put an ngIf snippet on this guy. So we'll use the else template as well. I want to say, hey, if the auth service has a photo URL, lowercase URL, then we're going to do one thing, and then otherwise we're going to do the no photo template. Now, a couple things here have to happen. As I said, hey, I'm using the auth service over in create post, so I better go make that dependency injection statement really quick. And it's easy. You just say public auth service. Done that many times now. So now we've got access to the auth service over here. It's really neat how you just, with services, you just kind of got them wherever you need them, right? And so back over in create post. So if they have a photo URL, which they should, then we'll show it. But just in case they don't have a photo, like if it's a blank field, we will still show the missing photo thing. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make another ng template here. And this ng template is going to be called the no photo template. So this is my no photo template. And what I typically do is I copy, they're kind of similar things here. I copy the positive case and I paste it in here and I take out the ngIf part of it. All right, so where am I at right now? So what I've got right now is I've got that if there is a photo, then I'm showing the missing photo. So obviously I don't want to do that. I want to instead show something else. I'm going to put src in brackets, which means the thing in here is now JavaScript. And so I've got this missing photo URL that I can stick into here. By the way, another trick you can do, this is really just kind of like a trick, you can give it a shorter name. So you can say like as photo URL, and then later when you refer to it, you can use that shorter as name. That's only useful if the name here is really long. It's not really that long this time. And then the alt here should really be like Google profile photo, right? So profile photo. Cool. So if they've got a photo URL, we're going to show it, and we're going to get it from the auth service. And if they don't have one, then we'll show our missing photo. So this should be cool because it should show my photo as soon as it loads up. Go ahead and save things off here and see what we've got. Presto, there's a picture of me, which is kind of cool. So it's as easy to get the photo as it is the name, really. So I think that I'm ready to check this in. Your task is going to be to switch it to use a stream because that's what we're doing this time. We're all about streams. We've got a create post. We've got a little CSS on create post. Create post is using the shared CSS, and it's also using dependency injection to get the auth service. A post has a little bit of HTML in him. We haven't, he's still showing missing photos, and that's because we don't necessarily have a good way to show the authors yet. So we're just kind of leaving that for now. It's got a font weight of bold. It's also using that common CSS. Our auth service added a photo URL, which is just a string, which you're going to convert to a stream. And then there's our common thing. So this is real HTML for create post and post. Cool. All right, so go fix your photo URL to be a stream, and I will see you next time. Bye.